As Russian troops are fighting to take over Ukraine, we are hearing from a former Ukrainian official who has been on the front lines defending his country from the invasion. We want to bring in Anatoliy Grytsenko. He was the Ukrainian Minister of Defense from 2005 to 2007. So, Anatoliy, I really appreciate you joining us now. As you know, Russia is characterizing this invasion very differently to its own people, Putin is. But you have been on the front lines. Tell me what you are seeing there.
First of all, I want to thank you, all of you, the United States, the citizens and the government for support. You shall be feeling proud because your support is saving lives here every day, every minute, every hour. Thank you very much. Our soldiers now are demonstrating the unprecedented level of courage, unity, and decisiveness. Putin planned to take over Ukraine for 2-3 days maximum. No way, he failed. It's already 8th day, and we are fighting strongly. Of course, our forces are exhausting, but we are feeling support from our NATO friends. And if you ask me what is needed the most right now, I would say it's closing the skies. We can take care of the enemy on the ground. We are strong in that, but we need to establish by NATO forces the no-fly zone over Ukraine, or at least over the capital of Ukraine and the nuclear power stations, because they are threatening those, and the destruction of nuclear power stations would be a disaster for the whole Europe. It's really needed. It's badly needed now.
Yes, Anatoly, we've seen video of ordinary Ukrainians stopping the Russian troops, Russian soldiers from getting access to some of those nuclear facilities. And we've been reporting over the last week on the Ukrainian people joining the Ukrainian military to try and repel the Russian invasion. Can you give us, without giving too much away, how confident you feel that there are enough civilians along with the Ukrainian military that it can at least push back on Russian attempts to take some of the cities, specifically now as they turn their attention to Kyiv?
Of course, our military is outnumbered by the Russian military. We have roughly 260,000 people in the active duty military. But the first wave of the reserve component was mobilized, in which my son, the first lieutenant, is fighting now on the front, and also the so-called territorial defense, which already consists of 100,000 normal civilians who are not devoted to stay in the military for years, but they have a military experience. They know how to deal with the automatic gun or the grenade launcher, and they will kill whatever is coming to their homes, to their streets, to their working places, because it's our land, it's our people, and we have to fight for that, and they will fight. It will be a disaster for the Russian army because they, if prepared, they are prepared to fight with the regular military, but they are not prepared with guerrilla-like warfare. We will show them the case.
Let me ask you about this request for a no-fly zone over Ukraine. You know what we are hearing from President Biden, other members of NATO, that the thing about this is that it needs to be enforced. It only works if Russia is going to comply with it, or Belarus, who knows, is going to comply with it. If it needs to be enforced, that means NATO troops need to get involved, and we could be looking at a World War III. How do you respond to that?
It's a really justified question, but I believe that the risk of the establishing of such a zone and sustaining it is also justified. And there is experience in recent history when the same United States with the United Kingdom and France were establishing such a zone over Libya, over parts of Syria. Of course, Putin would not be happy with that. He is threatening to go further, but he threatened the NATO countries if they do not go back to the 1997 military posture. Besides that, NATO goes east. Second, he threatened and presented kind of a red line. Please stop supplying Ukrainians with weapons. NATO countries are supplying, despite Putin screaming. So it's in the same line. And if this is rightly shaped in messages, and I would stress, the United States, the UK, or France, or whoever who is joining that no-flying zone effort should clearly declare, first, no NATO soldier, no NATO boots, no NATO aircraft will be in Ukraine or over Ukraine. We are asking just the same mirror-like approach from Russia, with only one objective: no offense to Russia, no threat to Russia, just to avoid the humanitarian disaster, avoid killing civilians, striking by rockets to hospitals, to schools, to kindergartens, and to avoid the ecological disaster, because there are roughly 5 dozens of nuclear power plants plus very dangerous economic enterprises in chemistry, which can also create a disaster for Europe. So with this peaceful mission, I believe Putin will stay away and he would stop. On the ground, we will cover by our forces. They are suffering, they are dying, but it's our duty to protect our country. And the only way to protect now, to help us with closing the skies. Because the risk of other development is much higher. If Putin takes over Ukraine, then he will be threatening directly to Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, and the rest. And in those cases, all the countries, including the United States, would be prepared to apply much more tougher efforts threatening Putin. So calculating the risks, I would recommend to do it right now.
Let me ask you, Minister, about
yes, please.
One of the challenges, I think, for the Russian people is, of course, that Vladimir Putin has completely eradicated all freedom of the press in that country. And many Russian people are unaware of what is actually happening in Ukraine. And if anything, they believe perhaps what Putin and his propagandists are telling them, which is that this is to liberate Ukraine. This is to denazify Ukraine, even though we should point out that President Zelensky is Jewish. Yeah. So just people understand that. But I've seen video, and I wonder what you have heard from your son, Lieutenant Grytsenko, who you said is fighting on the front lines, on how they are treating some of the Russian soldiers that have been captured. I've seen video of Russian soldiers saying that they were unaware, that they were told that they were going on a peacekeeping mission. What is the order that is going out from senior commanders to lieutenants like your son on the ground on how they should treat some of those prisoners of war?
Of course, there are several cases when soldiers say they don't know where they are. They were kind of going for military training, but then they found themselves in Ukraine. I would not buy this argument, and I would ask you not to buy that, because we have found real documents that were stamped and signed by the higher military command of the Russian forces, I stress, on the 18th of April. So on the 18th of April, at least battalion and company level commanders, they knew that they would go to Ukraine. They knew all the frequencies, all the targets, all the routes, etc. So it's a big lie. It's a big lie that they don't understand what they're doing here. They are invaders, and unfortunately, being unable to really fight with our forces or to occupy the territories they were tasked to, they are killing civilians. They are killing just children. They are hitting just residential buildings, microregions. They are hitting churches. So it's really against any war rules, any war conventions, any just moral norms. And in combining with the previous reportage on your channel, who Putin is, how corrupted he is the real need just to isolate such a dictator in a position like North Korea, and or better to remove somewhere, because it's a real threat for the whole human being on the globe.
Anatoliy Grytsenko, former Ukrainian Minister of Defense, thank you so much for joining us and explaining to us what you're seeing on the ground. And of course, our hearts are with you and with your son, Lieutenant Grytsenko, as well. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.